Yeah, I think it's possible.
Yeah.
It depends. Like you said, Golden State's a good one, good example. It depends on which way these teams go. If you look at the draft order and teams that are trying to win now, Kris is a guy who I think is ready to come in and knock down shots and space the floor and like do valuable things. He's low maintenance, sort of like Keegan in that way, where like he's not going to have to dominate the ball to be effective. He's not. I doubt he'll be as quite as impactful as Keegan was as a rookie. But I think we have to try to not fall into the trap of like comparing twins because it happens, or brothers in general. Like it
Yeah.
always happens. Like we did it with like Lonzo and Lamelo, and different. There's always like similarities, but I do think there's a chance he could be on the board there in the mid 20s.
And do you see the similarities though between the two? Because like you said, it is such an easy thing. It's like, yeah, they're very similar because they're identical twins. But like,
Right.
it seems like they might have some similarities in their games.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Like I would always joke. I mean, so Kris is left-handed and Keegan's right-handed, so you could always tell. Obviously, like when they shoot the ball, which one is which. Having like watched them a lot at Iowa. And also, I think you can kind of tell them apart when they're together. When they're not together, it's harder. But when they're together, I can always tell. But I think they're a little bit different. Kris, it's funny because he was always reputed as the better shooter, but then we saw Keegan take a really big jump as a shooter
Yep.
last spring, and then carried that over into the season. Obviously, with the Kings, became a really good shooter. So I do think he'll have that element. I don't think he's as aggressive of a scorer. It's kind of funny, like also with twins, oftentimes guys grow up playing as teammates and they kind of like fall into different roles. Like, I mean, you could talk about it in the context of the Thompson twins as well. It's always like one twin is the more aggressive scorer and one of them is like a playmaker. It's a little different because Kris is more of like an off-ball scorer, but he does some of the same things, and obviously they're somewhat similar physically. I think Kris is a little bit smaller than Keegan, at least last time I saw. Um, but I think he'll have a solid NBA career. I don't know if he'll be a All Star or anything like that. But again, there's just a need for guys who have size and are consistent and can shoot and can kind of hold their own and compete on defense. And I think he'll do those things.